Yeah, that's correct. For Pat Nunez?
911 emergency, do you need police, fire, or ambulance? You have police, what's your emergency?
Communications operator functions in 3 different ways in the center. First, we are a 911 operator. We take all the 911 calls that come in through the region, and we direct them either to the ambulance, which is dispatched out of James Street, or to the OPP, which is dispatched off of Algoma Street. If it's a police matter or a fire matter, it stays here within the communications center because we also dispatch for fire. Another position that we have within the room is a dispatch position, whether that's for fire or for police, or there's a secondary dispatch channel as well for the police. And the third function is the supervisory function, which is usually one person who is sitting in the room overseeing all of the other operators and making sure that policies and procedures are adhered to and that we are handling the calls with the proper priority.
A good communications operator needs to be level-headed, needs to have a good head on his or her shoulders, be able to decipher the information that's somewhat out of order, that's scrambled up, and make sense of a lot of times where calls that don't make sense at the time, right? They need to be able to keep their head when it hits the fan, because a lot of times the officers' levels are stressed, are up high, and they're the ones who are trying to get all the pertinent information. So you think about it, we have our high stress calls are like pursuits, vehicle pursuits, and you're, as an officer, engaged in that call, driving the car and trying to answer the questions that are given to you. And if you have a communications officer that's able to keep their head about him or her and ask you the pertinent questions, it's easier then to respond than to try to think of all the answers as you're going through the motions, right?
93 to 224.
841, can I have the MTO information for the vehicle and CPIC information and MTO for the driver, please?
911 emergency, do you need police, fire, or ambulance?
When a big event happens, generally the phone lines are going to light up and you're going to hear lots and lots and lots of ringing. So we have 3 911 call takers who are responsible for answering all those lines and getting the pertinent information, which is where, who's involved, is it an in-progress call, is it something that's happening right now? Is it a matter of life and death? Is somebody in some type of danger? And getting that person funneled to the correct agency, whether it's for ambulance, fire, OPP, or the local police. So when all those calls start coming in, the dispatchers in the room know that something big is going on because I can hear all of the ringing. I can hear my 911 call takers speaking to people on the phone. So as a dispatcher, you start looking at your available resources and in your own mind trying to come up with a game plan. If it's in the south, this is what I'm going to do. If it's in the north, this is what I'm going to do. So you're always trying to anticipate what's going to be required of you, but you know there are situations where you're going to be blindsided and thinking, holy cow, I didn't see that one coming. But yeah, it can be quite a hectic place, and when you have to start making requests in between these 911 calls, because not only are our call takers answering 911, but they're also placing calls at the request of the officers who are in the field. So they're quite a busy bunch.
The relationship between frontline officers, uniform officers, and the communication department is essential, because it's our lifeline. It's what is going to make us go home at night, right? It's giving us the information prior to showing up at the call and determining what's occurring.
Well, I've had some messy calls. I'm going to say probably it was the calls that involve young children. You deal with that call, you do your job. You put most everything else out of your mind and you do your job. But when all's said and done, or at the end of the shift when you're relieved to go home, that's something that you will bring home with you. You got to make sure you have a good support system there so you can have people to give you that safe place to go and decompress. And then having support with your colleagues is important as well, so that I can actually talk to somebody in point blank detail about what I'm going through and what the call was. And because of Privacy Act and security, we can't do that outside of this room. So it's important that you have support within with your colleagues to sound things off of. And there have been sleepless nights, and I'm not going to lie. There have been sleepless nights where I've come home and taken a call with me. But you know what? I've had good support, and we've worked through it, and I'm back to work another shift. Balmoral Lithium Temple. It's a huge amount of job satisfaction that I have in being able to help the public, help the officers and the firefighters who we dispatch to. I take a lot of personal satisfaction in being able to do my job well. It's a strenuous training process, and not a lot of people can do it. So I mean, it is a bit of a badge of achievement when you can actually assume a position in this room and be successful at it. And yeah, it has its challenges. You know, working on Christmas is not fun, but again, that's why we do it, is because we get a huge amount of personal satisfaction out of it. As a person who may require the services of either police, ambulance, or fire, if you can only get one bit of information to the 911 operator who picks up the phone, where are you? Because if we don't know where you are, we can't send anybody to you. So if you can only get one bit of information out to us, that's the number one.